Okay. I'm going to call to order the regular Town Commission meeting, April 27th, 2021, at 7 p.m. We just did the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to move to roll call. Town Clerk?
Mayor Mayfield,
Here.
Vice Mayor Campo,
Aye.
Commissioner Fender,
Here.
Commissioner Kurzman,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompeck.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we are on to proclamations and presentations. We are fortunate to have people here to receive the proclamations we have. And so we are going to start with the first one, Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation. We have Mindy Fetterman, founder of the Inner Truth Project here. Is she here? Yes, okay, excellent. If you wanted to come up to the lectern while the proclamation is read, I'll have the town clerk read it. And I'll come down and present it to you, and then if you wanted to say some words afterwards, if you're comfortable with that, that would be great. April, will you please read the proclamation?
Sure. A proclamation declaring Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Sewalls Point, Florida. Whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month and calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is a widespread public health problem. And whereas every day, too many women, men, and children across Florida suffer the pain and trauma of sexual assault in all of its forms. And whereas during National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we recommit ourselves to lifting the veil of secrecy and shame surrounding sexual violence, expanding support and understanding for survivors, and strengthening our response. And whereas at every level we must work to provide necessary resources to survivors of sexual assault without judgment and with dignity, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation and housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Town of Sewalls Point Commissioners that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Sewalls Point, Florida. Further, the board encourages all residents, law enforcement agencies, healthcare providers, and the community and private organizations to support survivors of sexual assault and to work together to prevent these crimes in our community. Presented this 27th day of April 2021.
Thank you, April. All right, I'm going to come down and give you the proclamation.
I absolutely do. So thank you so very much for allowing me to be here this evening and for this proclamation. This is the first time I've actually been before you all, and that's unusual because I never come. So this is really important for me. I am a survivor of sexual abuse and rape, but I'm not here for myself. I'm here for all of the survivors that I work with all along the Treasure Coast, and that includes in your community. It's hard to imagine that a place so beautiful like this actually has a deep, dark secret like sexual abuse, but it is in the community where we live. And actually, since the rise of COVID, our numbers have been up by 40%. Many of the people coming from the community. We're averaging right now 7 new survivors a week, and that includes men, and that includes our youth. So we work with teenagers starting at age 10 all the way up to 18. And our oldest survivor right now is in their 70s, because many people take a whole lifetime before they're able to really process what's happened to them. So standing before you says that you not only see me and you see us, that you stand with us and you believe in us. So this is more than just a piece of paper. This means that you're willing to identify this issue that many people don't want to talk about, that is very much in the shadows, and that you recognize that this is a real issue and that we matter. So I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well said.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your words. Next, we are moving to the Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation. We have Pat Austin with us from New Horizons of the Treasure Coast. And same thing, I'll have her read the proclamation and come give it to you, and then hopefully you'll say some words too. April, will you please read it?
Sure. A proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas the mental health of every citizen, family, business owner, and resident of the Town of Sewalls Point is a critical factor in its emotional and economic stability. Whereas 44 million American adults roughly 18% are living with a mental health illness, whereas 13% of American youth ages 12 to 17 are living with major depression. Whereas in 2020, COVID-19 depression, anxiety, and substance abuse doubled from the previous year's finding of 1 in 5 adults to 2 in 5 adults who are dealing with mental health issues, roughly translating from 20% of Americans to 40% of Americans needing mental health services. Whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency predicts that the psychiatric impact of a disaster will hit a community approximately 18 months after the disaster. And whereas stigma remains the primary obstacle to getting help. And whereas, as community leaders, we must prepare for an increase in demand on services through education, outreach, and ever greater access to care to ensure our community's overall health. Whereas it is the duty of each and every one of us to provide continued, consistent access to resources to mental health care. Whereas we, the Town of Sewalls Point Commission, strive to be a community who supports mental wellness, including greater access to treatment, including educational tools and resources for our citizens, and continually supporting those citizens with mental health opportunities. Now, therefore, I, Kaya Mayfield, Mayor of the Town of Sewalls Point, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Thank you very much, April.
Thank you, Mayor Mayfield and commissioners, for taking some time to think about mental health and to give your support once again for its importance. We certainly didn't need COVID to remind us that mental health is very important. It has exacerbated every one of the problems that we already had that were still impossible to deal with in what we now refer to as the good old days. I'm Pat Austin, a member of the board of New Horizons, which is the nonprofit community mental health and substance abuse provider for 4 counties in this region. We have 15,000 clients spread out over 4 counties for both inpatient and outpatient care. And interestingly, of the 7 outpatient offices that we run, the one in Martin County is our busiest. Over the next couple of months, we're going to be opening up a medication-assisted treatment program within our Martin Center. Because while we have all been rightly focused on COVID, the opioid epidemic has continued unabated. And we're going to be expanding this service locally. We've had it in our Fort Pierce office for a while. The demand is so great. We'll be also at the Tower Open Stewart. We have peer counselors now who are going into the ERs at the clinic Martin when there's somebody who's come in with an opioid overdose, in the hopes that as that person leaves, he or she will be discharged into a mental health program rather than risk having yet another opioid episode. And we have 2 people now housed with the Sheriff's Department because we know that there are many people who really need mental health much more than they need repeated incarcerations. And one other program I just wanted to mention to you this evening, because of the enormous expansion of the need, we put a lot more resources into our mobile resource unit. This is a group of trained therapists who can come anywhere 24/7. They can go to a home, to the school, to here, to anywhere anyone is having a mental health crisis. So instead of people needing to find us, we can call them to find them. You know, Florida is 49th in the nation in its support of mental health services. 49th. There are never enough resources for all the people who need our assistance. And the only way we get by is by our community coming forward to be in support of our friends and neighbors who need help. So on their behalf, I thank you for being one of our friends. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. All right, thank you very much. Like, that is good, important work, and we appreciate your help for all of the residents in our community. We are going to move on to item C, which is the 2019-2020 fiscal year audit report. We have Jim Hartley of D. Bartolomeo, McBee, Hartley, and Barnes here.
Thank you. Good evening. Doug Hartley with the audit firm, about here in Hartley Barnes, representing the audit report for September 30th, 2020. I'll just get on some of the highlights here. We did issue an unqualified report, which is considered a clean report. Pages 4 through 9 of your audit report is your management discussion and analysis, which is your financial highlights of the year. Page 10 is the statement of net position. As the town finished the year with total assets of right at $5.8 million and total liabilities of $525,000. The net position of $5.8 million. I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
Yeah, did you want to wait till?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay.
Sorry for the delay.
So,
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley. What page are we referring to?
I'm on page 11 now.
Thank you.
Would you mind starting over? I'm sorry.
So,
Sure, just so that everyone understands.
Yes.
Start off with the opinion that is clean and qualified. We like
Qualified
that.
report, clean report, clean pen. That is on pages 1 through 3. Pages 4 through 9 is your management discussion and analysis, which touches on your highlights of the financial year. Page 10 is your statement of net position. The town finished the year with total assets of $5.8 million. And total liabilities of $525,000. With a total net position of $5 million. Page 11 is the statement of activities, which shows your program revenues and your expenses. Your general revenues, which includes your property taxes and other taxes. You had a change in net position of $123,000. Your net position went from $5,146,000 up to $5 million. The next pages are your governmental financials, and you'll see reconciliations between governmental financials and your governmental line, which was your statement of net position and statement of activity. Pages 16 through 28 are notes for the financials. This describes your significant accounting policies, as well as our equipment disclosures. Page 29 is your federal revenues and expenditures, budget and actual. So this is on your fund financial presentation. So you see for the year, you've got your original adopted budget and your final budget. And on the revenue side, you were down from budget at $202,000. Primarily due to some anticipated grants that were budgeted that did not come through. And your expenditures, you were favorable to the expenditures of $1.4 million, and those were some capital projects and such that were not completed or done yet. Your final pages are your compliance reports and your management letter. Pages 32 through 36. We have no instances that require you to disclose. In your compliance report, in your management letter, we have certain items that we disclose in there, but again, we have no findings that come to our attention that warrant you disclosing. We have some recommendations as
Okay.
and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And it looks like we have a question or two. Commissioner Campo.
Yes, thank you, Jim. It's always a pleasure working with you, and thank you for your help. Just a few miscellaneous things. I'm going to go ahead and congratulate former Mayor Fender, because during this tenure, there was a net position of a higher amount, so that's always good. So we all need to recommend those things, so thanks for that. Big gulps for everyone afterwards, right?
Exactly.
I also want to thank you, Jim, for referring to our retirement plan properly as a defined contribution plan instead of a pension. Seems like I have this question with a lot of boards that I sit on. They all want to use that word pension and act like they don't have a word processor that can adopt that, so I really appreciate that. In the past, we have had an issue with paying a late fee, and we had to have, I don't know if you called it an infraction or a note, because you said earlier there were no such infractions. We've taken care of that, right? Okay. So I want to take my hat off to Cheryl, who's doing a great job, and I think we had some challenges initially. So I want to thank her for your hard work. I know it's a lot of detail, and again, appreciate your work. And hopefully, if we do go out for services in the future, you know, you can throw your hat in the ring, because I've always been pleased with the services that you've provided. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Tompeck.
Good evening, Jim. Haven't seen you in, 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, right? I had a couple of questions on the independent auditor's report, specifically under other matters, and they're just questions. You know, the first paragraph there,
What page?
I'm sorry, page 2. A lot of accountant speak in this paragraph, and what I was wondering about is are there any recommendations on improvements to the MD&A that you can think of that we should be making? Because I wasn't sure if that's kind of where you were headed here.
No, this is saying everything's in compliance. The MD&A does have certain things that have to be disclosed in there. That does come from management. You can always extend that a little bit to, talk about highlights and such, but nothing that we're specifically recommending.
Okay. And the second question I had to do, are there any new GASB requirements that are going to pop up here in the near future that we should be aware of?
That was one of the items that was disclosed to management, was watching the new GASB pronouncements. With COVID, they did delay them, so we did recommend setting a schedule to watch for the ones coming out, because the dates were difficult to follow. The ones that would affect you directly involve debt, but you don't have debt, so those aren't going to be an issue right now unless you're going to take on debt.
Thank you.
Okay. I see. Any other questions? Or-
Madam Mayor, I would make a motion that we approve and accept the auditor's report as stated.
I'll second.
All right. Do we need to approve and accept this, Town Manager? Okay. All right. I see no more discussion. Let's call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campo,
Aye.
Commissioner Fender,
Aye.
Commissioner Kurzman,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompeck,
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim, for your presentation. On to item D, which is the ceremonial swearing in of Officer Cara Cardarelli. Chief Tina?
This evening, we have the pleasure of swearing in a new officer of my police department. The department knows we bear a responsibility to our citizens to find the best officers to serve the town of Sewalls Point. Our standards are high, and they should not be compromised. Cara Cardarelli was born in Hartford, Maryland, nearly 39 years ago, and comes from a law enforcement family. She graduated from St. Lucia's High School and went on to continue her education at Seminole State College and Palm Beach State College. She attended the Police Academy at the Criminal Justice Institute at Palm Beach State College. Officer Cardarelli brings to the department experience as a police officer in the Palm Beach County Schools Police Department and Boynton Beach Police Department. She also has extensive customer service experience in the civilian sector. In conducting Officer Cardarelli's background, universally those contacted felt that she had the highest integrity and capability to do the job. I heard many positive comments from previous employers, neighbors, and friends, such as Kara has strong ambitions to help people in her community. She wants to see people succeed in life and is selfless in her approach. She feels the applicant is suited for a law enforcement career as she's always wanted to do the right thing. She's very smart and a leader with integrity, and a positive personality, and is professional and friendly. Believe it or not, I've already received my first compliment from a citizen who was on my voicemail when I came in this morning that met her over the weekend and was so pleased to meet her, said she felt so much safer knowing she was there, and that she really kind of wondered where it is that we're finding all these terrific police officers, which is the message that I thought. Which, me personally made me feel really good about that this morning, and I hope it makes her feel good as well. I'm confident that Officer Cardarelli will be a valued member of the police department's team of highly dedicated officers. If I could please get Kara to come forward, along with her wife who will be pinning on her badge, and come up to the front, please. All this protection here. I'll tell you what, everybody come over here. You guys can go. Yay. I'll get out of your way. I'll let you hold that. Okay. I, state your name, please.
I, Kara Cardarelli,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will, during my continuance in office,
that I will, during my continuance in office,
to the best of my skill and ability,
to the best of my skill and ability,
faithfully discharge all duties
faithfully discharge all duties
which may be required of me,
which may be required of me,
and that I will, in all cases,
and that I will, in all cases,
conform to the ordinances of the town of Sewalls Point
conform to the ordinance to the town of Sewalls
and its police regulations.
and its police regulations.
I will, without partiality,
I will, without partiality,
faithfully enforce the ordinances
faithfully enforce the ordinances
of the town of Sewalls Point
of the town of Sewalls Point
and all laws,
and all laws,
and will uphold the Constitution of the state of Florida
and will uphold the Constitution of the state of Florida
and the Constitution of the United States of America.
and the Constitution of the United States of America.
I, state your name,
I, Kara Cardarelli,
a citizen of the state of Florida
a citizen of the state of Florida
and of the United States of America,
and of the United States of America,
and being employed by
and being employed by
or an official of
or an official of
the town of Sewalls Point,
the town of Sewalls Point,
and a recipient of public funds
and a recipient of public funds,
as such employee or officer,
as such employee or officer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Florida.
and the state of Florida.
Congratulations.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Hold on one second. Let me get a picture of you right in front there. Stand this way. We all smile behind her.
Give my good side, buddy.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yay. Oh, knocked off. All right. All right, thank you very much, Kara. We're excited to have you as a part of this town. All right, on to item 3, public comment on non-agenda items. Yes, sorry. I like this. You guys are very official.
From board member to commissioner.
No problem. All right, moving on to public comment. I do not have any. Town clerk, do you have any? Okay. All right, well, then we'll move on to additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda. I wanted to add, it's a letter of support for a grant sought by Martin County. I believe you guys had a printout on the dais and received an email earlier, and add it as item J. It's a letter, I think you saw Tina's explanation. It's for diversion programs, juvenile diversion programs. Each Martin County municipality approves the sending of it, of the funds. This is on the consent agenda. Yes, I'm moving it to the consent agenda as item J. Are there any other additions, deletions, or changes? If not, can I get a motion to approve the adjusted consent agenda with the addition?
So move.
Second?
All right, thank you. Any discussion? Town clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
All right, thank you. All right, let's move to, there's no second readings, let's move to item 7, public hearing of ordinances, the first reading.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
we need to take a look at the consent agenda, please, and get a motion to approve that.
sorry,
That's okay.
I continue to do that, I forget.
We just did the addition to it.
You are correct, you are correct. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Seeing no discussion, then can I get the vote? Town clerk, please?
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. So back to item 7, public hearing, ordinance, first reading. Item A is ordinance number 431, the nuisance ordinance modification, clarifying methodology for abatement. Town attorney, would you please read the ordinance title into the record?
Yes, ordinance number 431 is an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, amending Chapter 22, Environment, Article 2, Nuisances, Division 1 in general, Section 22-32, prohibited nuisances on developed or vacant lots, and Section 22-33, abatement of uncultivated vegetation. Nuisances to clarify the authority and procedure for abatement of nuisances and for other purposes, provide for severability, the repeal of conflicting ordinances, codification, and an effective date.
Wow, Glenn, you are a quick reader. Thank you. I know that this, well, first let me open it up for public hearing. Seeing no comments, I will close the public hearing. Any discussion amongst the commissioners? I do want to say this one was discussed at a previous workshop, so it's not our first time seeing it, but I'm opening it up for any discussion.
I'll move approval.
And I'll second.
All right. Excellent. Seeing no discussion, can I please get a motion to approve ordinance number 431?
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo? Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now, these are the 2 ordinances from our land planning meeting that we just had. So we're moving on to ordinance number 433, the conditional restaurant uses, Chapter 82 zoning, Article 2. Town attorney, will you please read the title?
Yes, ordinance number 433 is an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, adopting Chapter 82 zoning, Article 2 administration, Division 3 Board of Zoning Adjustment, Subdivision 4 conditional uses, to authorize the Board of Zoning Adjustment to consider conditional use applications, to establish the conditional use application process, and for other purposes, provide for severability, the repeal of all conflicting ordinances, codification, and an effective date.
Whew, all right. Thank you, Glenn. I'm going to open it up for a public hearing. Seeing no public comment, I will close the public hearing.
Move ordinance 433.
All right, I got a motion to approve.
Second?
All right, excellent. Can we get a roll call for ordinance number 433?
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Moving to ordinance number 434, restaurants, permitted and prohibited uses, Article 4 districts. Town attorney, would you please read the title?
Again, before I do, Madam Mayor, my understanding is we're going forward with the one that continued
Yes,
the prohibition
yep,
of convenience.
the one
I just
that-
want to state that on the record,
Okay.
yes.
Thank
So
you.
ordinance number 434 is an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, amending Chapter 82 zoning, Article 4 districts and district regulations, Division 3 Business District B1, Section 82-302, permitted and prohibited uses to address conditional use permits for restaurants and food stores and to grandfather in existing restaurants and food stores, providing for severability, the repeal of all conflicting ordinances, codification, and an effective date.
All right, thank you, Glenn. I'm going to open it up for public hearing. Seeing no comment, I will close the public hearing. Seeing no discussion amongst the commissioners, can I get a motion to approve ordinance 434 with the amendment of language as offered by the town attorney?
I'll make a motion to move ordinance 434 with the amendment of the town attorney just added.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Seeing no discussion, Town Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Commissioner Christensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Tompak?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Moving along to item 8, resolutions. Since we've been moving quickly, and I think we all like to know the resolutions, I'm going to ask the town clerk to read the resolutions, please. So we're going to go to resolution number 905, offshore drilling.
A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, urging the Bahamian government to deny offshore oil drilling, exploration, licenses, and permanently ban offshore oil drilling activities in the Bahamas, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
Did you want to read the whole resolution? Would you?
The whole thing?
I've been told that we read all the whole resolutions in the past, town manager. Is that usually?
Up to you. We
Okay.
usually like to explain what we're resolving.
Okay. Yes,
the whole
please.
thing?
Yes.
Whereas the Bahamas Petroleum Company, BPC, has been granted an offshore oil drilling exploration license by the Bahamian government that allows them to construct exploratory offshore oil drilling wells 150 miles off the coast of Florida, and whereas exploratory and commercial drilling, extraction and transportation of offshore oil and gas resources by BPC poses a significant risk of oil spills and chronic leakage that may adversely impact the Bahamas and coastal communities in the Caribbean and Florida. And whereas offshore drilling activities pose threats to treasure vacation destinations in the Caribbean and along Florida's coast, which are of intrinsic economic value for numerous industries and countries, provide essential nursery habitats for recreational and commercially important fisheries, and act as natural buffers from storm surge and hurricanes. Whereas the town is one of the numerous communities in Florida and in the Caribbean whose local or nearby marine habitats, industries, and public health may be devastated by offshore drilling oil spills originating in the Bahamas. And whereas the town endeavors to protect the environmental health of all marine habitats. And whereas exploration and development of oil and gas resources off the Bahamian coast may not effectively address the long-term economic diversification goals of the Bahamas and would likely substantially damage the tourism sector of the Bahamian economy, which makes up 60% of the country's economy. And whereas the town urges the Bahamian government to deny offshore oil drilling exploration licenses and to permanently ban offshore oil drilling activities in the Bahamas, and further urges Martin County and the state of Florida to oppose such offshore oil drilling and work with the Bahamian government in such efforts. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, that the foregoing whereas clauses are ratified and confirmed as being true and correct and are made a specific part of this resolution. Town Commission respectfully urges the Bahamian government to deny offshore drilling exploration and further urges the Bahamian government to permanently ban all offshore drilling in the Bahamas. The Town Commission directs the clerk to transmit a copy of the resolution to the Bahamian Prime Minister Hubert Minus, the Bahamian Ambassador to the U.S. Sidney S. Coley, the Martin County Board of County Commissioners, Governor Ron DeSantis on behalf of the state of Florida, all municipalities in Martin County, Florida, and the Treasure Coast Regional League of Cities. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage.
Thank you. Thank you, Town Clerk. I know that's a lot. I appreciate that. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Town Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Vice Mayor Campo? Aye. Commissioner Fender?
Absolutely.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes. Okay, thank you. And we are going to move on to resolution number 906, repeal a Bay Tree Lodge zoning special exception.
Can I make a motion that we waive the requirement to read the details?
Sure. I know April's happy.
I was going to
Just the title.
I was going to offer to read it for you.
That's funny.
Okay.
So it's a motion and a second.
Oh, yes, sorry about that.
To just read the title.
Yes. Can I get the vote called, please?
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
No.
No, you're just being mean. Vice Mayor Campo?
Yes.
All right, so now we are on resolution number 906. As I said, the repeal of Bay Tree Lodge zoning special exception. Town Clerk, will you just please read the title?
A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, acknowledging the owner's abandonment of the special exception originally granted by Resolution Number 235 for property located at 143 South River Road, Sewalls Point, also known as the Bay Tree Lodge, and revoking said special exception, providing for conflicts, severability, and effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Seeing no discussion, Town Clerk, would you please call the vote to
Commissioner
approve?
Fender?
Yes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes. All right, moving on to resolution number 907, budget amendment number 4. This is the one that was previously before us. Town Clerk, would you please read the resolution title into the record?
A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewalls Point, Florida, adopting an amendment to the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget, directing the town manager to take action to implement budget amendment number 4 and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners about this resolution? Commissioner Campo?
Just because I was not here during the workshop, could the town manager spend or the finance director,
Yes.
just spend a few minutes hitting the highlights?
Cheryl?
The biggest highlight is recognizing some of the revenue that's going to come in, so we can go down to Exhibit A. There is the HMGP grant for $877,500 that we're recognizing. I believe, I'm going by memory. The Martin County Utilities.
Yes.
And there's Exhibit A.
Town manager?
So revenue recognition of the anticipated increase in revenue that we'll see from building impact assessments. We've previously done the building permit fees and increased that. So this is the offset to that. And then also the updated expenditures for the town portion of South Sewalls Point Road. Part 1, Phase 2, Joe, am I getting it right? Phase 1, Part 2, Phase 1, Part 3, and then truing up to some other expenses that just are greater than were originally budgeted for.
Town manager, are you able to go to Exhibit A? You're the one doing the computer, right? Or is Tom?
Exhibit 8, you like?
Just, it was right after this, right? Just because that's what she was talking about.
It'll be fixed up resolution.
There.
Oh, I did pretty good.
Yes, Yes, you did. I'm impressed.
Oh, and the playground expense, so the playground is actually moving that from the restricted funds that it was originally set aside for the 75,000, and actually moving that and unrestricting that money that's been set aside for all of these years.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Any other discussion amongst the commissioners? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve resolution number 907, budget amendment 4?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Seeing no more discussion, Town Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Fender?
Aye.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
All right, and last of all, we are moving to resolution number 908, Arbor Day, April 30th, 2021. Town Clerk, would you please read the title into the record?
A resolution proclaiming April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day and celebrating the town of Sewalls Point's 30th anniversary as a Tree City, USA community.
All right, thank you very much. Any discussion on this?
Move approval.
Second.
No more discussion. Will you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
All right, excellent. All the resolutions are done, and we are moving to item 9. Old business, the official town seal and town logos. This was discussed at a workshop, and that's where, obviously, we were talking about it, and this is to look for a motion to try to move forward, or to approve that. So, Town Attorney, did you want to explain the item, please?
Yes, this is, what you've talked about in terms of logos and seals, and this would be adopting your official logo, the one that's behind you on the screen, as your, what I'll call your number 1 logo, and then logos 2, 3, and 4, we could register those as well if you would like. And there's not much of a cost, it's $262 per logo for the 5-year period. The town does apparently use interchangeably different logos, especially the police obviously have theirs, and the one behind you is probably the one that's most commonly used.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners about this item? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve the establishment of logo number 1, which is the one pictured as the official primary town logo, and then approve the registration of logos 2, 3, and 4 with the Division of Corporations to protect the usage of those since they have been used in the past and might be continued to be used a little bit.
So move.
Second.
All right, thank you. Seeing no discussion, can I please get a vote call, Town Clerk?
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Peck?
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo?
Aye.
Commissioner Fender?
Sure.
Okay. And now on to new business. This is the J.W. Cheatham, this was on the dais, J.W. Cheatham time extension without compensation, South Sewalls Point Road, Phase 1, Part 2 and 3. Town Manager, would you please explain this?
Sure, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, attached find the memo from the Senior Project Manager from Consor Engineering, LLC. That's our firm that's conducting the CEI services for the South Sewalls Point Road Resiliency Project. The memo explains the reasons for the delay and outlines the specific weather days incurred to date. While the J.W. Cheatham contract entitles the company to the additional time, the company is not requesting additional funding. We are asking you to approve the non-compensable time extension of 147 calendar days.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners?
I've got one question. So that would extend the estimated completion time to about what date?
Town Manager, can you answer that, or should we ask Joe?
Go ahead and have Joe come up while I pull up
Okay.
the information.
The record, Joe Gabbro, my recollection is correct, that what it is, we did ours at towards the end of August, almost September. Most of the work, however, will be done in August, and now give us an opportunity. What's most important about this deadline is we have to start the monitoring so we can complete requirements of our grant with DEP were passed, they got that, as well as the owner of the building. So we are going to still start, we will get most of the items completed in August. They will have to do some striking work. It takes some time to, between putting asphalt down and putting the thermoplastic striking down. That will happen towards the end of August to the beginning of September. So the timeline is going to pretty much be into September, but that's why that's happening in a period of time.
Okay.
That will allow us to start monitoring what's going on, our quality.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll move approval of staff recommendation for the extension.
Second.
All right, thank you. If seeing no other discussion, Town Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Tom Peck,
Yes.
Mayor Mayfield,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Campo,
Aye.
Commissioner Fender,
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman.
All right. We moved along nicely, and now we are at commission and staff closing comments. There's nothing under discussion. So we will start with staff comments. Town Manager, are there any staff comments?
No staff comments at this time, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Tom Peck.
Yeah, just a quick one. I'd asked the town manager about plans for utilizing the ARP money, and I thought the commission would like to know what's going on there.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, the American Rescue Funds, also known as ARF, to all of you who are so familiar with it, right now we are receiving an estimate of $935,415 that the town will receive. But we'll receive that over 2 disbursements. So one within this next year, and that amount will be $467,707. That's the estimate that we've received so far. The monies that we receive with the 2 disbursements must be spent by 2024. My goal right now is to consider using this money wisely, not just spending it, but making sure we invest it. So obviously, all of this information is just informational and supportive information for you all to make the policy decisions. But my recommendation will be to consider spending versus investing, with investing being obviously the goal. Some communities will be utilizing money for basic budget stabilization. We're not going to be in a position to need that money for stabilization this year. We may want to utilize that money for infrastructure cash flow options, especially since we are trying to remain on certain timelines. So right now, that is my front focus. If we need to move a project quickly and we need cash flow, that could be our one-time use for capital improvement projects, such as South Sewalls Point Road or whatever the commission deems is appropriate and a priority within our capital improvement projects. Outside of that, the items I'm looking at, making a recommendation, and this may change by the time we get the money, but right now we're looking at a master stormwater fee study. This may partially fund that study. So we're looking at that and/or offsetting the first year of rates for the residents. Repairing of impaired stormwater infrastructure as well. We have many gates and curb areas for our underwater storage and our opportunities to transfer water that are broken throughout the town. And so we could easily get that fixed with one fell swoop. At this point, let me go back to the stormwater fee. I'm looking at dedicating $50,000 towards that. On the repair of the impaired stormwater infrastructure, $30,000. Hardening Town Hall. As you know, Town Hall needs hurricane windows and other items that would enable us to have it more hardened. Even sitting in here in a meeting, it's difficult because of sound, but beyond that, we really need to make sure that we're protecting the people's building. And I have down allocated $80,000 towards that effort. Wastewater, sewer, legal fees, and initial administrative work for South Sewalls Point, potentially, $250,000. I know it is the commission's ideal, as we have heard, direction from the commission, to have that absorbed with Martin County Utilities or Martin County, and we are still working towards that as a priority. but in an effort to move forward, that might be a recommendation. And portable pumps. We have the opportunity to get a portable pump, additional portable pump, with a trailer and generator to use for tidal and flood issues as we're going into hurricane season. And that's $50,000. So if we utilize it for those side items that I just mentioned, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that totals up to $460,000, with the anticipation that we're receiving $467,707 on our first disbursement. Now, the commission can think of other ways to use it. It's obviously at your discretion. Some communities, I wanted to put this out there, are also using it for social and philanthropic opportunities or economic development opportunities for small businesses. So obviously, up to you. If there's another idea you would like to ideate at a workshop, we can do that. But it could be potential seed money to initiate a nonprofit, like a Friends of Sewalls Point Foundation, to support things like art in public places, or potentially tree canopy conservation or tree canopy cultivation. I know that these are things that have been important to many, but we don't have funding sources for that. So you could work with our attorney to create seed money for a nonprofit to get started, so it would basically be paying those legal fees, and then you would hopefully assign that to some others to be able to take that nonprofit and work in alignment with the town. And there's also small projects that we've heard people wanted, like the additional wheelchair swing at the playground, or opportunities to add sidewalks in certain areas. So those are just some ideas. My priorities are the ones that I spelled out to you as the town manager, and at the end of the day, these will be your policy decisions.
Okay, thank you, Town Manager. Before I get to you, Commissioner Campbell, remind you, this is the federal money because of the pandemic, correct?
Correct.
And the total was 900, what'd you say?
$935,415.
Okay. And
We'll
the fir-
receive it in 2 disbursements.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioner Campbell?
Yeah, I've just got a little celebration I wanted to throw out there, and, I've worked hard for Sewalls Point, and one of the reasons is because I just love this community, and I love the police taking care of our kids, and I love the park. I just love being able to give back to the community. And I'm at the conclusion of a 10-year, very extraordinary effort to get my children graduated from high school. And I am so happy that my 5th child, Reagan, is graduating, and not just graduating, she is the captain of her girls lacrosse team. She's the president of student government. She's got straight A's her entire career. She's got a job that she's done busing. She busses at a restaurant. She'll do 2 double shifts and then come home and do more homework. And she's just such a blessing to me. And the reason that I give out to my community is because this community has been so important to my family. And I'm excited. I'm just really excited because she's off to UF. She got scholarship offers from University of Miami and Virginia Tech. She's got straight A's her entire career. She gets a 98 in college calculus. She's just extraordinary. So I just want to, I know we work hard. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. But this is my family, and this is an extension of how much of a blessing this community, Chief Tina, and the staff has been to me and my kids. So I just wanted to, share that celebration.
Awesome job. Thank you, Commissioner Campbell.
Well
That's
done.
awesome.
Excited, yeah.
And she chose a really good school.
That's what really matters, right?
Commissioner Fender?
Awesome, James. That was great to hear. I can't top that, but I was going to ask about trees. I think you were approached by Jackie regarding 173 South River Road and the Gumbo limos that were cut down over there. You know anything? I don't know much about this. I was just going to ask.
I have that and about 6 other items that are pretty current. Would you like me to go through them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to, but I'd love to hear.
I think as I responded to the former mayor, that item is taken care of. there was an original fine. An arborist was brought in by that property owner, and the
About
arborist... put-
173?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're talking about 173 South River Road.
Okay.
And that, and they happen to be owners of a company that came from the Keys that is focused on landscaping,
Wow.
so believe it or not, and uplighting, and they're going to bring quite the contribution with that piece of property when it's done. So they've
Okay.
submitted a replant plan, and they also submitted a letter from their arborist, a complete report from the arborist that explained the process and why they eliminated the trees due to certain types of rot.
All right.
I also will be providing an update for another address, and I really don't want to give out the addresses because it just creates
fine.
fodder.
Yeah.
But we do have a residence that is suffering from erosion on the west side of their property, and they are on a water piece of property. And literally within about a foot of their pool, the side has started to erode. And so it's emergency work that they will be doing. It's probably going to cost them about $200,000 to $300,000 to stabilize
Ouch.
their property so that the pool doesn't fall into the river. And they will be removing, out of necessity, approximately 20 trees. They are, some of them are non-natives and just small trees, but it does total to 20. And each one of them, we walk the property, myself and the building official, the engineer, and the person another person that's working the project, and the homeowner. And we came into agreement with what trees absolutely must go. And that's for safety purposes, and that's going to be pretty immediate. And then we have 3 other properties that are also undergoing large construction projects, and removals will occur based on letters from arborists or because they're in the footprint of the properties. But there's one that I really want to celebrate, and that is also on South River Road, and I've invited each of you to individually go on a field trip with me. Obviously, because of sunshine, you can't. But I sent you a little video. But this homeowner is on the extreme part of the spectrum of really doing it the right way and spending an entire, I'd say, half a year on making sure the relocation of trees is occurring properly on this piece of property. These are signature trees. There's more than a handful, we'll say that. And they've been in the watering process, prepping for the move for the last 3 months. And so this week is probably their final week on at least 2 of the trees, and then they're going to move them. And then after that, then they have to, continue the care that goes in. So that, and they've also donated some trees to the town, which we've relocated here at the town hall. So we were trying to relocate one of the trees to the tree that fell over here on A1A during the storm on Sunday. It may not be feasible from a standpoint of getting it done and making sure it could live. And we don't want to put that risk out there with A1A being right next to it. A lot of movement going on, and at this point in time, it's more good than bad.
Anything on the undergrounding of the electric on the canopy?
We are exactly where we were when we talked about it, that we have consensus for the commission to move forward with undergrounding. And so I've reached out to the representative from FP&L, who has reached out to her teams, and they're going through the process of creating the project paperwork for us to take a look at and approve. It has to come to the commission.
Okay.
Before approval on that, I will be bringing in an arborist, maybe 2, to make sure that the trees themselves are going to be able to withstand a project of undergrounding the utilities. I think my biggest concern, because these are the banyans that are considered the canopy on our signature road of South Sewalls Point Road, and we want that to be there. The concern is, I relate it back to Coral Gables before Hurricane Andrew, same kind of community, and if we go under, my concern is, do we now create all this infrastructure underneath the trees, a tree that is a shallow-rooted tree, and does it then create more shallow roots, and then when winds come, topple? So I don't know. I can't make that judgment. We're going to bring in some arborists just to give us some good cover on that and some good information. And we'll do all of that before we execute on the project and before you sign off on it. But in the meantime, FP&L has notified us, as I informed you individually, that we must lift that canopy. It is too low. And if we don't lift it, they will come in and do the 3-year cut. If they do a 3-year cut there, there's not going to be much left. So we have agreed to do what I'm calling a shaving, but it's an appropriate pruning. And so within the next 2 weeks, I'll probably put out a communication via email to the community. We're going to have a company in there lifting the canopy by a couple inches. And that will satisfy FPNL at least for the next 90 days.
That's on the west side of the road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Town Manager. Any other commissioner comments? Oh, I had something to say. I was waiting for my comment. Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to remind everyone that next workshop, I believe, there's the ribbon cutting for the playground. It's been delayed a few months, but I believe that's scheduled for 5 p.m. Before the next workshop. So I just want to remind everyone, and it'll be a good workshop. Where the last presentation from Kim Delaney, correct? How to move forward and take care of our town.
Correct?
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, meeting adjourned.